On a summer night in Ocala, Florida, a simmering neighborhood feud reached its breaking point, and it all came down to a single knock at the door.
911 was there. I just saw the emergency.
Oh my God, this lady just tried to break down my door.
Okay, what's going? Take a deep breath for me. Calm down.
Oh my God.
You said someone tried to break down your door. Is that correct?
I didn't know what to do. I grabbed my gun and I saw it at the door. And I thought she was going to get me. This is the woman who attacked me.
And did you know her?
Yes, she's come after me several times because of her children. Her children keep trespassing over here.
Is she a neighbor?
Yes.
A mother of four standing on a neighbor's porch asking for an explanation after just another incident happened during her children playing on the street. The sheriff's office was called again, only this time they were too late. Before deputies could arrive, a single gunshot rang out across the night, leaving four children without their mother. This is the story of Ajike Owens, a 35-year-old mother from Ocala, Florida, who was shot through a closed door by her neighbor Susan Lorincz, after months of escalating tension over the noise of her children playing outside. For months, Susan complained about the noise, yelled at children, and cursed at anyone who got too close to her home. Her yard was covered with no trespassing signs, and she called the sheriff's department over and over, reporting her neighbors for the smallest things. What followed wasn't just another tragic shooting. The case triggered a national debate over race, fear, and Florida's stand your ground laws, raising uncomfortable questions about how far self-defense can go, who it's meant to protect, and if it potentially can justify the shooting of a mother standing up for her children. My name is Jenny, and you're watching Deep, Dark, and Scary, where we take a closer look at real-life cases that blur the line between justice and tragedy. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It helps the channel grow so we can keep diving deeper into stories that deserve to be told. This story contains content that may be distressing for some viewers. In this episode, we'll take a look at the body cam footage and interrogation videos, evidence that in many ways speak for itself about what really happened that night. And you'd think that everyday neighborhood disputes, the kind that start with noise complaints or kids playing outside, would end with an apology, or at least an uneasy truce. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes one neighbor takes things much further, until a simple disagreement spirals completely out of control. In Ocala, a quiet city about an hour northwest of Orlando, that's exactly what happened. The neighborhood at the center of this story looks peaceful. Rows of tidy uniform homes on generous lots, framed by open green spaces where local children often played. But beneath that calm exterior, resentment and fear were slowly taking root until everything came undone. This is where Ajike Owens, a single mother of four, lived. Her friends lovingly called her AJ and described her as protective, warm, and a devoted mother to her children. They were her world. And like most kids, they loved to play outside, riding bikes and having fun. Just across the street lived Susan Lorincz, a 58-year-old woman who often complained about that noise and the children being on her property. According to neighbors, what started as occasional irritation, a shout over the fence, a muttered complaint, turned into repeated confrontations. The conflict kept building. AJ tried to keep the peace, but as the reports of harassment grew, her patience began to wear thin. The school year had just ended. Children were excited about the beginning of their summer holidays. But on June 2nd, 2023, just before dark, one of her sons came home visibly upset. That evening, AJ's children had been playing outside when one of them accidentally left their iPad on the grass near Susan Lorinc's property. The kids told AJ that the neighbor had taken it. And that's when they tried to get it back. She yelled at them, threw a roller skate that hit one of the children in the foot, and swung an umbrella toward one of them. The children also claimed she'd used racial slurs, something neighbors said had happened before. Susan would later deny these accusations. That day, AJ decided to go over and speak to Susan directly. She walked across the street and knocked on Lauren's front door, unarmed, wanting an answer. Moments later, a gun fired through the closed door. The bullet struck AJ in the chest. She collapsed in front of one of her young sons, who had to carry the burden of loss, as well as witnessing the horrific act. When paramedics and deputies from the Marion County Sheriff's Office arrived at the scene, they found AJ lying just outside her neighbor's front door.
She said she's an old white lady.
Do you have your trauma bag?
There is still someone with a gun.
She's inside.
Okay.
Where?
Bro, where? Ex-military. She's in the house, bro. That apartment. Right here. This first apartment. I need like a 49, 40.
Wake up! Baby, wake up!
That one right there. Number 3.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, baby, wake up! Baby, wake up! Come on! Hey, baby, wake up!
We need to do CPR real quick.
Baby, wake up!
CPR.
Baby, wake up!
Let me see. Do we have any pulse?
Signal 35.
Do we have any pulse? We got a pulse! We got pulse! I'm in front. All right. Sheriff's Office, come outside with your hands up! This is the Marion County Sheriff's Office, come outside with your hands up! Show me your hands! Show me your hands! Turn around! Turn around! Where's your gun at?
You got hands? You got hands?
You're going to be detained for
Is there anybody else in the house?
Her children, having already called 911 in a panic, were still nearby, crying and calling for help. In the chaos, the first responders attempted CPR and rushed to care for AJ, at one point detecting a faint pulse.
You're fucking done,
She's still with us.
Here, move.
She's got a pulse.
Move. She does? Here,
Yeah,
move.
she's got a pulse.
Where's the gunshot wound?
Right here.
What did she sue her with? Here.
Her gun like a 22 or something.
Oh my God.
She said she...
Do this for the longest time, bro. Cops on this fucking woman for fucking ever. Oh my God. Hold the flashlight.
We're together. Murder, not harder.
She's the neighbor.
Oh my
Can
God.
you fucking imagine if this was our kids?
Despite their efforts and speed, AJ was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Multiple neighbors had also already called 911 for help, but so had Susan. In her own panic call, she told dispatchers she'd fired in self-defense, convinced that AJ was trying to break down her door. Detectives questioned her at the scene, and Susan was taken to the police station that night. But to the community's disbelief, she wasn't arrested. Lorincz was allowed to return home, while investigators reviewed evidence and consulted the state attorney's office. That delay would ignite outrage across Ocala. For AJ's family and neighbors, it felt like justice was already slipping away. For days, the community demanded answers and accountability. Why hadn't the shooter been arrested immediately? Sheriff Billy Woods urged patience, saying the state needed to determine whether Florida's Stand Your Ground law applied. That allows the use of deadly force if someone reasonably believes they are in imminent danger. To many, that hesitation felt like an injustice in itself. Civil rights groups and Owens' family pointed out that AJ had been killed through a closed door after months of documented conflict, hardly the kind of sudden threat the law was meant to cover. And the door itself told its own story about that night. It was intact, with no signs of forced entry or breakage, just a single bullet hole where the round had been fired through the wood into Ajike's chest. Over the next several days, investigators spoke with witnesses and Owens' children. Their accounts were consistent. AJ had been unarmed, simply knocking on the door to speak with a woman who had started an altercation with her children once again. The children also described a pattern of harassment, yelling, racial slurs, and objects thrown in their direction. Then, 5 days later, on June 7, 2023, authorities announced they had reached a decision. During interrogation, Susan Lorincz told detectives she fired her gun because she was terrified. She claimed AJ was pounding on her door, yelling threats, and that she truly believed AJ was about to break in and kill her. But investigators weren't convinced. They told her that no witnesses heard those threats, and the door itself showed no sign of being forced open.
When was it that you realized that it was her coming to the door?
Because I said, who's there?
Okay, how did you know someone was there initially? Was it because...
It was a huge banging.
Okay.
Just pounding at that door.
Okay. So initially, there was no words, it was just the pounding?
Yeah.
That's what started
Yes.
the interaction there?
Yes.
And where was the pounding at initially, where it first began?
The front door.
At the front door?
Yes.
Okay. How many times did she was it just like
It was,
one or
no,
was
no,
it
no,
several?
it was just bang, bang, bang,
Okay.
bang.
All right. And then you said
Who's
you asked her
there?
who's
Yeah.
there? Okay. And what was said then?
I think she said, why do you speak to my children this way? And I said, listen, I'm not going to speak to you. Go away. You know, if she had a problem, she should have called you guys. You know,
Okay.
honestly. I mean, if she really thought there was something seriously wrong, I don't understand why she just came over and just started pounding on my door and, you know, screaming and yelling. So.
And then what happened after you said to go away?
Go away, and then it got quiet for a bit, and then she started really banging, you know, just pounding on that door.
Okay.
She was relentless.
How long is a bit, would you say?
I don't know,
Like
because
5-10 seconds or 2 minutes? Or?
it was an extended period of time, probably 20 to 30 seconds,
Okay.
easily.
But during that time, you didn't hear anything else? Did you think she went away?
No, well, I obviously knew she didn't go away because she was screaming while she was pounding.
Describe that. When you say screaming, describe what does that mean?
She was just, you're not supposed to speak to my children this way. Why did you, you know? And then she was saying, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, holy shit, you know? And that's when
Well, you said there was like the initial barrage of the pounding, and you said, who's there? And she said, you know, what you said about not talking to her children that way.
Yeah.
And then you said it got quiet. So there was no banging, there was no words being
No,
said.
because I thought she went away.
That's what I was asking, basically. I'm sorry
Yeah.
if I...
No, it's okay. I thought, all right, you know, she's just going to do whatever she wants to do.
And you said that was like 20 to 30 seconds?
Yeah.
And then did she start yelling again first, or was there more banging?
It was banging, it was yelling. I thought she was just going to break down the door.
Okay.
So, I mean, my heart was pounding, and I was like, she's really going to kill me.
Okay. And when the banging and the yelling started again, where were you at then?
I think I was in the kitchen.
Okay. All right. And then what happened?
And then she just kept banging and yelling. I'm like, you need to leave. You're trespassing. Get off my porch. You know, get out of here. You know, I'm not talking to you.
And I know we've kind of gone over this a lot, but I want to make sure now we're getting more like in order of things, because the first time we talked, it was kind of just like it all came out all at once.
And I kept thinking, okay, you guys are going to show up, you know, because I had called earlier and no one was coming. I'm like, shit, I couldn't find my phone. And she was just banging and banging, screaming at me, telling me, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. I'm like, she's really going to kill me this time. That's all I kept thinking. She's literally going to come in this house and kill me.
Okay. When did you find your phone? At what point?
After I shot her. I just started searching the house frantically until I found it, and I wanted to make sure that I called and said, you know, I shot, because I heard her go, ugh. You know,
Where was your phone?
I think it was in my computer room.
In the computer room? Okay.
So, let me just understand this a little better, because I'm not really sure. So, the woman that got shot, what is her name?
AJ.
AJ. Right, it's AJ.
Yeah.
Okay, and how long have you known her?
I really didn't know her. I just, you know, she was a neighbor across the street.
Okay, so how long has she been a neighbor across the street from you? Help me understand that.
A year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, year and a half and 2 years. And in that year and a half and 2 years, how many times have you guys been able to talk?
We've never talked. It's more like screaming.
No, okay, all right. So maybe the better word would be communicate. How many times have you guys been able to communicate in that year and a half or 2 years?
2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times. And in those 2 or 3 times over a year and a half and 2 years, what were you guys screaming about? What were you guys communicating about?
She would take her dog and walk it on my sidewalk to make sure it's shit on the sidewalk. And
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, of all the places you can walk and take your animal, you're going to come here. And
Sure.
she said, it's the only place my dog will go to the bathroom.
Okay. So,
I'm like, no, I don't think so.
okay.
No.
So you guys would have a disagreement regarding that, some screaming regarding the dog pooping where it shouldn't. What else would you guys communicate about in that 2 or 3 times?
Then one time she was talking to the neighbors and she said, oh, that bitch over there is crazy. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to, you know, sorry. I walked over, I said, what is your problem? And she just went on a tirade. I have never heard someone scream like this woman. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, she exploded, and I'm like, oh shit.
How long ago was that?
2 months ago.
2 months?
2 or 3 months ago. And then she was saying I called her kids all kinds of names, and I'm like, no, I didn't. And the more I said no, the more irate she got. Finally, I'm like, you know what, let me just back off, say yes, I'll apologize, and scurry away.
What kind of things was she saying that you called her kids?
I called them racial slurs, that I called them slaves, and that's never happened. I mean, when she said, I'm like, what are you, stop already, stop lying, you know? And I was like, enough, what? I did call them retards once, because they just kept coming and coming. I said, are you retarded? You can't read the sign.
Okay.
You know, how many times do we have to tell you you're trespassing, you know?
Now, all these kids nowadays, they have tablets and phones and stuff. Are you, I mean, you can tell us the truth. I mean, it's just us in here. I think we were looking at the different videos, and people were telling us about, we spoke to everybody in the neighborhood separately. Was there other times when you got frustrated or something with these kids, and you've said something else that we're not talking about? I mean, have you said other words to them, or something about middle fingers or something? Tell me about that.
It wasn't at the kids, it was at the gentleman.
Who's the gentleman?
I only know him by his name, Sapito.
So, okay.
So he's a guy, he gets all the kids together, so they're screaming and yelling, and they're doing all this crazy stuff, and I'm like, stop already. And I asked him, I said, please stop. I don't like the yelling, and I just, you know, I'm starting to break down.
No, take your time. What is the crazy stuff that Sapito has these kids doing? Tell me about that.
He used to ride a four-wheeler. And he would come around the house, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Then you have the kids on the back, no helmets, no nothing, and I'm like, stop already. The one time I went out there, he almost hit me. He's like, missed you. Jesus Christ, really? And I'm like, I just can't deal with it. I have an injury right now. I have an aneurysm on my left kidney artery. If he hit me, he'd have killed me.
So, was it on last Friday that you were kind of giving him the middle finger then? Is that what I was understanding?
I may have given him the middle finger because you're just out there, and I took a picture, and he's like, oh, go take more pictures. I'm like, you know, because...
What other kind of crazy things is he having these kids do? Is it something where
he would have them exercise and scream and yell, and the kids are like, we're tired, stop, we're tired.
Is he like a coach, or do they play sports
I don't know.
or something?
I have no idea. And he's like, come on, you weenies, you know, get moving. And the kids are like, no, we want to stop. He's like, you can't stop.
Is he the father of one of those kids that live?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure.
I don't know who he is. I just know that. And I asked him, I said, please. I said, you know, one of my friends was murdered when I was very young. And she screamed. She was bound and gagged, and the guy thought he killed her, and she screamed. And so every time those little kids scream, I keep thinking of my friend Elizabeth.
Tell me about that. Whoa.
So, and I asked him, I said, Sapito, please, these kids screaming like this, it's triggering me. I don't want to hear this, you know? And he's like, you're full of shit, you're a liar, you're this, you're that. I'm like, really? I'm like, why would I tell this story and it's not true?
I know this is kind of not really related to what we're talking about, but what happened with your friend? Is that when you were very young? Or?
14.
Oh my gosh.
So a guy came and he raped her and he beat her and he thought he killed her. And he bound her up. She was at Shilton Factory, the Old Spice Factory in Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And next to it was a children's playground. And he buried her there in a shallow grave. And she wasn't dead. So when the coroner said that there was all dirt in her lungs because she kept screaming and screaming and screaming. So every time those little girls screamed, it just kind of, you know, made me think of Elizabeth.
Have you ever been a victim of any violence?
Oh, yeah.
Describe that to me.
I was raped and beaten.
Did that happen here or in New Jersey?
In Jersey.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
Started when I was 4, it didn't stop until I was like 20.
Okay. And was New Jersey police or whatever able to help you out with that, give you justice or anything?
No.
Was that ever reported to law enforcement?
No, because I was starting to be killed.
Okay. So that was something that wasn't reported. And was this from a known family member or something? I worked Special Victims Unit for years. Okay. So this was from a known family member. Have you ever been a victim of some kind of violence from a random person or something like that?
Yes.
Describe that to me.
I was dating a gentleman, a doctor, up in Michigan.
Uh-huh.
And we were going to, you know, move forward with the relationship and everything, and he got super drunk one night, and he started beating me.
Uh-huh. So that sounds like domestic violence, someone else that you were associated with, and they did something bad to you. Was that, were you able to report that to New Jersey or whatever it may be? Were they able to arrest that man?
Up in Michigan.
Michigan. Were they able to arrest him for anything?
I never said anything. I was
Okay.
so embarrassed. And
Sure.
Just,
Sure, that's
you know,
that's
I'm
common.
an adult, you know.
Yeah.
I should know. I mean, as soon as he finished and he passed out, I left.
Okay.
You know, and just got out of the situation. Never spoke to him again.
Scott, I'm trying to understand. I know what happened to you this time. We just talked about that. I'm saying, has anything like this ever happened to you before, where someone was trying to break into the house and hurt you or something?
No, not like this.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that's ever happened to you
No.
before. I just wanted to see if there was a similar experience. We talked about unreported sexual abuse. We talked about domestic violence. We talked about whenever you were robbed once of something by some men, and then there was something stolen out of a shed. Is that right, in New Jersey?
Yes.
Okay. But then we're talking about what happened there today. And this woman that she passed away. You said that you guys had yelled at each other 3 or 4 times in about a year and a half to 2 years. Is that right?
Yes.
And the last time she yelled at you a lot. Did you ever? I worked as a patrol deputy for years before becoming a detective. Did you guys ever get in like a fight in the street or
No.
anything like that? No, nothing like that.
You gotta be kidding me. I'm sorry.
I gotta ask, because I don't know you that well.
No.
Did she ever brandish a weapon or anything like that, or something?
The only thing she ever did is she picked up the no trespassing sign and threw it at me and hit me.
Okay. And I know that the police came out a lot of times. Did the police ever come out for that time when she threw the sign?
Yeah, and then everybody in the neighborhood said, oh, we didn't see anything.
Okay.
So it was a he said, she said, so they said they couldn't charge anything.
Sure.
And like, all right.
And obviously you have a firearm. I haven't had a chance to ask you about this. Now, is that a gun that you've had for years? Or you just had it for a couple weeks? Help me understand that.
No, over a year.
Okay, over a year. So thank you for helping me understand that. And describe to me, AJ. You've only had these arguments with her a few times, but what I'm confused about is that we're talking about her banging on it 3 times, and then there's the pause, and there's everything else you just described to Detective Stitt. And you said that this was the time that she was going to come and kill you. That's confusing to me because it sounds like you guys really didn't have any other times that she was going to come and kill you.
No, she was saying she's going to kill me. I mean, she was verbalizing it. She was saying, I'm going to kill you.
Okay.
That's how, it's not like this is the time she's going to come and kill me. I
So
mean,
I'm trying to get into your
she's-
mind, and I'm trying to be brought to that moment to why you believe that. And we were talking, you were in the bathroom, then you were in the kitchen. I mean, I know that she's saying something, and you're inside your house, and she's on the other side of that wall and that door. Were you able to ever see her to see if she had anything in her hands?
There's no people or anything.
There's no people, thanks. Okay. Were you able to look through a window or anything to see if she had anything in her hands or anything?
No.
Okay. So you don't know if what's going on, but you can hear her voice.
Yes.
And you said that she's hitting the wall hard enough that, was it the door?
The mirror.
That the mirror's moving?
Yes.
And she's hitting the door?
She's hitting the door.
Okay. There's no peephole or anything like that. You don't know who all's out there, but you can hear her voice?
Yes.
Okay. What made you shoot that spot on the door? It sounds like you had some experience with the gun, so bring me to that moment where what happened?
I grabbed the gun, I was shaking like a leaf, and the more she pounded, the more she screamed. I was like, stop, 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 go away, move away. She wouldn't move away. Finally, I'm going to kill you, and that was the last time, and I just fired the weapon.
Okay, was there a spot you picked or something like that?
I just kind of, there was the door, I knew she was out the door. Shot.
And you said that you believe it was between 2 and 5 minutes?
Yes.
Was that total time from when the first pounding started to the time that you fired the shot, 2 to 5 minutes? Or do you think it was shorter time than that or longer?
To me, it seemed like 2 to 5 minutes.
2 to 5 minutes
More,
total?
well, by the time I shot the weapon, at least 5 minutes.
Okay. Did she ever try to open that glass sliding door or open the door handle or anything like that? Or was it just the pounding?
I just remember her pounding and pounding and pounding. I mean, I got terrified. I mean, I was so terrified she was going to come in and kill me.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and maybe this can kind of help us get a better time frame. From the time that you called 911, these kids are on my property again, they're yelling, what happened that first 911 call?
Mm-hmm.
That time that you hung up with 911, how long before she showed up and she was pounding on the door after you hung up?
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So about 10 minutes after you disconnected and they said, hey, we have deputies on the way, 10 minutes after that is when she started pounding on your door. Okay. And I just want to be clear, 2 to 5 minutes from the first time she pounded to the time where you felt in danger enough to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And did you call 911 immediately after
As soon as I found my phone.
Okay, how much time do you think after you fired the shot?
A few seconds.
So within
I
a
said
minute?
within a
And
minute,
you
yes.
immediately called 911?
Yes.
Did you call anyone else before?
No.
Did you call anyone else after?
No, I don't think so, because you guys were here. I mean, you guys came right away,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
What's with the racial statements that everyone's saying that you made? I mean, have you ever used the N-word and they're using it against you? Have you said it in passing or something?
I have no idea. But it could have been I was speaking Hungarian and instead of English.
So you're native Hungarian? Is
My
there?
father was Hungarian, my mother was Polish, so we spoke mainly Hungarian in the household.
Okay.
Yes.
So, you know how anybody can have a phone or a device that's
Exactly.
recording. So you would imagine, I'm sure the kids have phones out in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them have tablets that record video. So when we talk to these people and we talk to them, they tell us something, but we have to kind of verify
Mm-hmm.
that. So we ask them the same questions. Do you have any video, audio, anything that would document as what you're saying is true?
Mm-hmm.
So when he's asking you questions like that, sometimes we have to ask questions that we already know the answers to, and
Okay.
it's not to try to trick someone. It's just to try to see how credible they are and how reliable their statements are. So when we ask them something that we already know the answer to, and if they answer us and it matches up, then some of the stuff that we're still trying to learn and put the pieces together to, we have more credibility and believe in that. Again, he was referring to some of the racial statements that have been alleged.
You know, we heard that you said the F word and the B word. These are what the kids are saying.
I definitely dropped F-bombs.
Okay, and
Definitely.
what are you saying the F word to?
Pick your fucking shit up.
Referring to stuff on the ground or something?
Mm-hmm.
And when we say the B word, what are you referring to that? Who are you talking to? What are you saying when you use that language?
B word.
Yeah, which I'm assuming is bitch, but I don't really know.
Okay.
Have you said that word to them?
Remember.
Or is it bastard? Possibly bastard?
I don't know, could have been either one.
Yeah.
Are those words that you've used when you're outside around the kids or something like that?
I guess if they were really annoying me, I may have let one slip.
Okay.
You know.
And how would they really annoy you? Like just
Screaming. They
Okay.
would scream.
the screaming, and that would maybe let one slip. Okay.
But the girls would do something so stupid. I've never seen anything like this before. They would go face to face with one another and so you could scream louder.
Yeah.
5 feet outside my door. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, why? We want to see who screams louder. I'm like, take it over to your house.
Sure. Okay. So, Detective Stith has been talking to you about the timeline, okay? And some of the work we've done. Now, this is a picture that I draw. We spoke to everybody in these buildings. We spoke to them all in these buildings. And we talked to anybody that had cameras that would see different areas. These cameras, they hear things. We're able to hear audio. We're able to hear things like that. And everyone that we interviewed, I pretty much got the same, Detective Stith, I think we all got the same statement from every single person we interviewed. Now, these people could hear her talking, okay? Because she was talking loudly. You said that you could hear it through the wall, and I can agree with that, okay? She made a statement, something to the effect of, why'd you take my kid's iPad? Okay, somebody heard her say that.
I never touched an iPad. I never saw the iPad. I don't know what this iPad is
A
about.
tablet or something like that? Did you-
Again, no tablet, no iPad, no electronics at all. It was
Sure.
never there, or at least I never saw it.
Okay.
So I have no idea.
Was
whether-
she, maybe she's wrong, but was she asking you about a tablet or accusing you of something with a tablet or an iPad? I don't know if it's an iPad or a tablet.
Could have.
She could have?
Could have.
Okay, you seem unsure of some of the stuff she's saying through the door. Did she say, you're not really sure if she said that?
She could have said it during her rants.
Okay. She's saying these things. The thing is everything that we've learned so far, I have not learned of her ever saying to you that she wanted to get into the house. It sounded more like she wanted to talk to you outside of the house.
How do you want to talk to outside the house when you're banging and screaming?
Yeah.
That's not reasonable.
One of the people
and
said that she said, "Come outside."
That's not, I'm sorry.
Come
That's
out.
not what?
It's not reasonable and prudent. I mean, you just don't, bang and expect someone to come out. Yeah, I think I'll come outside so
Right.
you can,
Well, I know.
seriously.
What she's learned, what I'm learning, what these people have said is that she was saying to come outside. She wanted to confront you about something. She wanted you to come outside. Do you remember her making statements and asking you to come out there and talk to her?
honestly don't recall.
Okay, so you don't remember that, and you seem unsure about some of the statements she made about the tablet. No one that we've interviewed so far has made any statements about her saying that she wanted to kill you.
That's what I heard.
Okay. You said you were so in fear and you're shaking. Is your memory affected regarding this incident in some way?
I just remember being terrified that she was banging and screaming, and I just remember hearing her say, "I'm going to kill you." Her son, early in the night, before I called the police, I don't know how old he is, but he said, "I'm going to make sure you get killed tonight."
Which son? She has 2 sons.
I know. I don't remember. It was one of her sons, but he was there. He's like, "I'm going to make sure you get killed. I'm going to make sure that you know." And I'm like, what the hell is going on?
Has this person ever shown you a weapon or anything like that?
No. But, I mean, the little kid said it, and then all of a sudden his mom's coming over, and she's banging and screaming. And
Now, I asked you this earlier. You said you can't see out there, but you've only seen her a few times.
Mm-hmm.
What means does she have to harm you through the wall?
Like I said, she was banging so much, everything was shaking and moving.
I'm just trying to understand what made you so in fear of this woman if you have these things between you.
When we had spoken previously on the other time when she screamed at me and I finally acquiesced, I said, "Whatever you want, I'm so sorry." She followed me, a foot behind me, up until I went into the house. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, she gave me the creeps.
What happened during that incident where she followed you? What was the conversation?
She said, "Oh, you called my kids, I can't remember, I think a nigger and a slave or something stupid like that." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever. Yes, I'm sorry. I apologize." And I finally said, I'm going to leave this alone. I don't need, to get killed in the street.
Did she tell you if she had recordings of you saying that?
I have no idea.
One of the kids?
I have no idea.
But you apologized and she continued to follow you anyway?
Yeah, she followed me anyway.
How far did she follow you?
Like right up to where I go in by the wood.
By the fence?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened after that?
She finally just went away.
Okay. And how long ago was that?
That was like a month or 2 ago.
Okay. And was that an incident dealing with she had the dog and the kids were over there?
No.
No, that was something different?
Something different.
Okay. And where were you at when you had that conversation where she started following you? Where were you?
I was in the street.
Okay. Like by the mailboxes or?
No, I was close to her driveway.
Close to her driveway, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did she make any threats of physical violence to you then?
I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
Okay.
She was following you and that made you feel creepy, right? Or creeped you out, I think is the word you said?
Yeah.
Okay, but there wasn't any threats of physical violence then. And you said...
Why would you, if the conversation is over, why would you still pursue someone? I mean, to me...
Was she still saying things? Was she still...
No,
talking?
she just followed me, and I just felt like, at any point in time she could knock me down and do something, and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't want to tangle with her anymore.
And was it only her kid that you called a slave, or was there other kids in the
I
neighborhood?
never called anyone a slave.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Never.
thought you said
No,
sorry for it.
I said I'm sorry for it because I didn't know how else to diffuse the situation.
Okay, so you told her that you did say that, but you're saying that you were saying it to diffuse the situation?
Yes, absolutely.
So have you ever called any of those kids?
Never called them a slave. Never.
You never said anything about this not being an underground railroad?
An Underground Railroad comment or something like that was mentioned?
No.
We did so many interviews.
Jesus Christ, no.
There was a statement like that made.
All right, that's new to me. I mean, it's completely new to me. I don't know where the hell that came from.
So, Susan, I'm looking at this from the outside here, and this really is not adding up to me. You used the word reasonable and prudent earlier. That's an interesting series of words to use. That's like a series of words that we use as law enforcement officers when we try to look at things. And there's a big jump here that you're making logically that I can't seem to make the jump. I'm having a really hard time getting there. You've known this woman for 1.5 to 2 years. Your only communications were 2 to 3 times. The dog's pooping, and then there was another time where you called her, you said, I'm sorry about calling your kids some names, and she followed behind you. You thought that was creepy. She's never threatened you. She's never displayed a firearm towards you. She starts yelling on your patio area, banging hard on your door, which your door is locked, and then you're scared. Now you're saying that you're scared, which, okay, I can get to that. I can get to that point that you're scared. There's someone knocking on your door.
No, it wasn't knocking, it was pounding.
Pounding. There's someone pounding on your door. Right. There's someone pounding on your door. They're pounding on your door, and I can't get to the point where pounding on the door leads to you being hurt or killed. I can't get
Because
that.
I thought she was going to break the door down. The door, you could see that it was all repaired and re-repaired and all that crap like that, so I never felt that door was secure.
You have an extended deadbolt, and you've never been in any kind of violent situation where someone's kicked in your door or like Kool-Aid Man through your entire wall. There has not been that situation. So I'm trying to do the reasonable and prudent. I'm trying to come into your shoes there. And do you have issues with any kind of previous from the car accident? I have to ask, a head injury which would impair your memory or affect your memory or anything like that?
I don't remember. I think I hit my head on the steering wheel from the accident.
Okay. Do you suffer time and spatial memory issues where you can't remember a certain amount of time and things like that? And the reason that I ask that is you have indicated that this was somewhere between like 5 to 10 minutes or something. Am I getting that right, Detective Stiff? Okay. From the cameras that we've looked at in the area here, this incident did not last for 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, from the people that we spoke to, there's aspects of this that I can agree about. She's talking loud. She's banging on that door. We're going to agree with that. But the actual number of knocks, you did 3 knocks, and then you said there was a pause.
I never said 3.
Well, you said bang, 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 and then she stopped, which I counted 3. Now,
okay.
if there was something different, you can tell me. I was remembering earlier. Nothing has led me to believe as an investigator that it was like 5 to 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay, maybe it just seemed like it was longer.
Okay.
Probably because, the adrenaline rush and just getting so upset. And
sure. Whenever adrenaline comes in, it can make things seem like they stretch out. From some of the other statements, we've got some of the things that we've learned. It sounds more like there was 3 knocks, and then there was 3 more, and then she was shot. It sounds like this was very quick. It sounds like this was like within a span of less than 20 seconds is what I would say. Is it possible that your time is off on this?
it could be.
Okay.
Because to me, it felt like forever.
Okay.
So
if this is like what's being described as a 20-second, this is a brief encounter. It's a brief encounter with loud banging, with loud yelling. The statements that some of the statements that you're saying occurred, like I'm going to kill you and those kind of threats. No one else has heard you. No one else has heard her make those statements.
okay.
Okay. I'm worried that some of the prior experiences you've had in your life that we've talked about today, they are traumatic experience, sexual violence against you, when you were a kid, all those people coming and trying to get you, that there's something going on in your head. Are you not sure about some of the things we've talked about today? Regarding some of the things you're saying that you heard, is it possible she never threatened you at all?
No, I swear to God, I thought she said, I'm going to kill you. I mean, that's why I just panicked. As soon as those words came out of her mouth, I was like, Jesus Christ, she's going to kill me.
Okay. And how did you imagine yourself being killed? Remembering that there's that block wall, that door, how was she going to be able to do that? What makes you think that she was able to do that?
She was still pounding, but that she could have come right through that glass wall. I mean, the glass door.
Well, we talked about pounding on the door. Did she ever pound on the glass wall? Is it a window or wall? Help me.
It's doors. It's sliders.
Glass sliding door.
Yeah.
She pound on that?
I can't. She may have. I don't know. Well, I kept thinking that she's going to gain entrance. She's going to kill me.
And that's why I asked you earlier if you recalled if she tried to. Was that door locked? The sliding glass door?
Yes.
Was that safe? Do you have like anything?
I had I think there was a wood piece in there.
In the slider?
Yeah.
Okay. And you don't recall if she tried that door?
I just remember lots of pounding.
Lots of pounding.
Just to me, it was just an enormous amount of pounding, screaming, yelling, and, I felt like she was going to come through that door.
And I think Detective Pender touched on it. Like, in your head, during the panic, during all these thoughts, what did you feel that was going to happen?
And she's going to come in there and beat the shit out of me until I was dead.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I felt. I mean, I don't understand why she came over my house. If there was all these issues and problems, why didn't she just call somebody? To me, that's what you would do if you're normal. That's a normal thing to do. If something happens to me, I call the police. You know, like, okay, you know, the kids are being run or she's banging it, you know. But when I couldn't find my phone and everything, I was just like, shit. You know, I honest to God felt she was going to kill me.
Now that you're out of the moment, I mean, do you think that she could somehow get through that wall now that you're out, now that you're not in the house anymore, and that
I
you
still feel that fear. I just still feel she was coming at me. I'm sorry, it's what I feel.
Okay.
I've just, you know, it's been playing in my head over and over again, and I just kept thinking of that and how terrified I was.
Was your goal to shoot and kill her?
No.
What was your goal?
To shoot and hopefully, you know, she'd hear the shot and dissipate.
But you took aim at the door, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And the goal was to strike the door and to dissipate it. I'm having a really hard time making this jump here, that this unarmed person on the other side of the wall is somehow gonna get into your house and kill you. I'm just really having a hard time getting there. I've been doing this job as a homicide investigator for several years, and I've seen houses that are made out of like pretty much be paper mache. Okay, doors that are so thin, like balls of wood you could just push through. And this is a block house with a solid door. I've seen cases before where there is an angry spouse and say, let me back in the house, you can't throw me out, and they'll kick the wall as hard as they can, and they're not getting in. So, you know, they work on these doors and they're not even able to make entry, and they just give up. And I'm really having a hard time understanding, like, how if you could go back in time, would you not do what you did? Would you take it back and I don't know, wait however long it took for the police to get there? I'm trying to understand that. Do you feel like you did something wrong here?
I did what I felt I had to. I honest to God thought she was going to kill me. I mean, that's all I felt. I just felt that terror. I mean, it was sheer terror.
Did you have any conflicts with anybody in particular on Friday at all?
Just the kids when it wasn't a conflict. I just told them, come on, stop trespassing, you know, move along, take it. The kids kept putting things out. They had marbles by my truck. They put their skates out. I tripped over the skate one morning that I had to leave very early, and I'm like, crap. And I'm like, stop leaving your freaking toys here. You know, I'm not the most stable person, you know, with my knees and stuff like that, when I'm walking. If I fall again, you know, who the hell knows what's going to happen between my back and my knees and, you know, the other injury. And I don't understand why they just keep leaving their crap there. And I'm like, it's...
That sounds frustrating.
It's extraordinarily frustrating.
You said there was a skate. Was there something that happened with the skate on Friday?
When the kids were there, yeah, they keep leaving the skates really close to the house. I'm like, stop already, you know, because when you go around and you do stuff and you're bringing packages in, sometimes I bring the truck up. I'm like, I don't want to walk over your skates and shit. I'm like, pick your damn shit up. So.
Okay, so when you went out there and one of AJ's kids was out there, and this is around the time frame where you threw the skates out into the yard or something like that. But this is also, so that was what was reported to us from a few people.
Yes.
But also during that time frame was where that tablet situation came up. So is there any reason?
I don't know what this tablet thing is.
It's like an Amazon tablet, you know, electronic tablet.
I never saw the tablet. Never. He kept saying, "Where's my tablet? Where's my tablet?" I had one.
Oh, so he did ask you about it, but you didn't have it.
Of course not.
So you never.
I never saw it, never picked it, never touched it up, nothing.
Why would he make that part up if
I have no idea.
Because he said, and it really doesn't change. It doesn't change anything. I'm just trying to understand. He said that he was going to the basketball courts after they played in the field. And he's like, I forgot my tablet, and he comes over and he sees you holding it. And he says, put it down, and you kind of tossed it down, and then that's when you threw the skates, and one of them hit him in the toe or the foot or something like that.
No, because they were standing here, and I threw it with my left hand.
Okay.
I made sure that I just threw them over to the other side.
And that's when you told him to fetch or something?
Yes.
You told him to fetch
I said, you can go fetch it over there now.
Okay.
Because he said, give me my skates. Get your skates. I'm like, here, go get them.
You already had them in your hand at that point?
I
He said,
think
give them
so.
to you? Okay. What were you going to do with them?
Just throw them on the other side. Just get them away.
But you don't remember the tablet or anything
There
like
was
that?
never a tablet. I never saw a tablet, never touched a tablet, never. I don't know where the hell the tablet came from. So I have no idea.
And then the situation with the umbrella, I know we had talked about it a little bit before, but do you remember who that was out there when, was that when, excuse me, was that when the older, AJ's older came over? What was he saying to you?
That's when he has said, I said, you guys need to leave. He said, I don't need to leave. I can be anywhere I want. It's, you know, I have, this is, I forget what the hell he said. Just something to the effect that I have no limits where I can go.
The umbrella that was behind your door, was that the one?
Yes.
Okay, and what exactly happened with that? Because that's another one of those things where we were talking to people who were right there, kind of, they already heard some yelling and back and forth, so they're kind of watching, and
I may have been talking with my hands, so.
swinging the umbrella?
Yeah, just, you know, come on guys, leave, you know, and
Okay.
gesturing. So
How far away were they when you were doing this,
Oh
and
my
where do you
gosh.
think you were at?
I remember being on the sidewalk, and then they were at least 5-7 feet away from me.
Okay.
They weren't even close.
What did they do when you were swinging it around?
Nothing.
They didn't do
No,
anything?
there was no reaction.
They didn't say anything? They didn't back away?
I honestly don't recall.
Okay.
It didn't rain on Friday. Why did you have an umbrella?
I thought it was raining. We had precip, and I thought when the kids got quiet that it rained finally and they went home.
So that's why you had the umbrella out?
Yes.
So if I were to, it sounds like there's a lot of things going on with the kids that day. It sounds like you're taking videos, and then there was a middle finger towards this guy. It sounds like the skates are in the way. You had to throw those. There's a lot going on with the kids. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Are the kids yelling that day?
Oh, they were screaming and yelling.
Screaming and yelling. Okay. It sounds like there was things going on with them, and then one of the kids' moms comes up to your house and knocks on the door. Is that right? Susan, real quick here. Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental health issues? Depression, bipolar disorder?
No.
Have you ever had to go to a mental health facility?
No.
Have you ever sought therapy for anything?
Yes.
What have you sought therapy for?
For the rape.
For the rape, okay. And is that something you attended as a child or something you've attended later on in your life or something like
When I
that?
was like 20 years old.
Okay. And when you were seeking therapy, what were you trying to heal? What were you trying to fix? Aside from the sexual abuse, was there something psychologically that happened to you?
I just shut down.
You just shut down?
Yeah, I wasn't feeling any emotions or anything like that.
Okay.
I just had no emotion whatsoever. It was just flat effect.
Okay. Did therapy help you with that?
Yes.
And then later on in life, you had a friend that was buried and the breathing in the dirt and then the screaming and
That
then that.
happened before the therapy.
And then I remember one of the words you heard was that causes you to be triggered whenever you hear screaming.
And the reason why I say triggered is I worked at the guest house where
Uh-huh.
they do therapy and stuff, so just picked up some of the words as I was working there.
Sure. So when you say triggered, how does that make you feel? What does that do to you?
It just makes me feel horrible.
Oh, horrible. What is that like? What is that feeling? Is it a feeling inside your body? Describe that to me more.
Just absolutely horrible, like I'm sick.
The screaming makes you feel
Yes.
sick. Okay. Does this sick feeling, does this triggered feeling ever make you do things that you wouldn't normally do? Say things you wouldn't normally say, act in ways you wouldn't normally act because of some trauma that you had?
I was going to say, I don't know.
You're not sure? Do you ever sometimes feel as if you get so upset about something, crying, angry, or something like that, that it overwhelms you? That you get overcome with emotion? Does anything like that ever happen to you?
Just trying to think. The only time was with death, but I figured that was normal emotions.
Sometimes whenever people get picked on and they get yelled at and they hear yelling and things like that with you, they say things and they do things they don't mean. They see red. That's what some people say. They see red. And I wasn't myself, detective. And they say things like that to me. And I'm trying to understand if some of these kids have triggered you and made you do things and say things that isn't you, is not Susan, is not the person that's sitting in front of me. Do you ever feel like anything like that ever happens to you?
The kids definitely just make me feel, sick. I mean, they just, they call me grandma. They call me Karen, I'm trying to think. They've said horrible things. The other thing was, I'm trying to think, some kind of stupid infection. I can't remember what the hell it was.
Do you say horrible things back that you wouldn't normally, that you're not proud of?
Absolutely. So I just, stop. It's like, stop.
I didn't ask you this before, but I saw inside you have like, it's almost a home office set up.
Mhm.
Do you work from home?
Yes.
You do? So you're pretty much, you're always there and you're always
Yes.
having to be
Mm-hmm.
susceptible to whatever
Exactly.
they do. And now it's summertime.
Yeah,
Everyone's
it's
in
a
school.
nightmare. But I'm very pragmatic. I'm like, if you see the stuff up here and you know this is my front door, why do you keep coming by my front door screaming and yelling? And they're like, doesn't matter. You don't matter. I had a little black kid come up to me and said, "You're white, you're old, you have no one in your life, you're not worth anything." So I'm like, great.
What did you tell that person?
I told him we're always alone. Guess what? You come in the world alone and, you leave the world alone.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when you say that, it sounds like you handled that well. When you say that you've said things before that you're not proud of, describe that to me.
I shouldn't have called them names. I shouldn't have said bitch or fuck, or I should have reined it in a little.
Okay. And then when we talk about racial slurs, have you made those not to anyone in particular and specifically?
In regards to?
Words like the N-word that you've said. Describe that to me specifically when you've said that.
I can't remember if I said it or if I didn't say it.
You sound unsure.
I honestly don't remember.
So I've noticed there's been some gaps in your memory, and that's why I've asked you about your memory, because some of the specific things that I asked, specifically this, you say, I'm not sure, I don't remember, and that's happened a couple times while we've been talking today. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to better understand that as why you don't remember some of these things, specifically what's going on. I don't know if it's something you feel shameful or embarrassed about. I don't want you to feel that way while we're talking. I'd rather you just be honest with me. Mm-hmm. But that's why I've been asking you some of those things. Is there any reason why anybody would have any video or anything like that of you saying like the N-word? Is there any reason why someone would have that?
I have no idea. And if I did let it go, I'm sorry. I could have slipped out.
Being honest with, what context would it slip out, do you think? I mean, what would happen for you to say something like that?
If they were being extraordinarily rude.
I'm sorry. There's just like a lot of other words that are, I believe, out there to describe those things as well. I mean, what is it in particular about that word or slave boy?
I never said slave boy. I never said the word slave. Never.
Okay.
So I don't know why you keep coming back to this.
Well, that's just
someone had mentioned, and like I said,
no, never uttered the word
that you used the word slave or
absolutely not.
Something like that. Is there any reason why anybody would have a video like that? Is there any reason why that would exist?
No, there shouldn't be. Shouldn't be anything like that.
Okay. I mean,
the Underground Railroad comment again. Remember, there's people out there.
I never made an Underground Railroad comment.
Okay.
So I don't know where the hell that came from.
And when detectives asked if she had looked up Florida's self-defense laws, Lorincz admitted she had, saying she'd seen something about them on Facebook earlier that same day. As questioning went on, her story started to unravel, and so did she.
You had mentioned the words, and I asked you to repeat it because I wanted to make sure I heard you correctly. You had mentioned terminology like reasonable and prudent in reference to how AJ was acting at your door while she was trespassing and everything. Where did that come from, that terminology? Is that
Watching TV.
Watching TV? Okay. Like documentary stuff or like what?
Probably just crime shows and stuff.
Crime shows? Okay. I have to ask you this, have you done any research on like the laws as far as like in Florida, as far as self-defense and things like that?
I looked at it today.
You looked at it today?
When I was on Facebook. Just some things that, they had it up on Facebook.
Describe that. What did you, specifically, what you were reading about and learning about?
Just They said self-defense, and I'm trying to think what the hell else I looked at today. So much crap, mostly emails. But I just remember saying self-defense, and there was a bunch of lawyers and stuff like that.
So, prior to today, even the last time that you and I spoke on very early Saturday morning, you had used some of that same kind of terminology in describing the situation that occurred at your front door. Prior to today, had you ever done any kind of research like that? And before I ask, let me just say, if we were to look through everything in your phone or your home desktop computer, is there anything kind of research on your internet history that would show that you've done research on like self-defense? Or have you ever heard of the term stand your ground?
Yes.
Have you ever done any kind of research on that?
Yes, when it was mentioned on some guy shot someone at a convenience store, and they said stand your ground now, laws.
Was that like a Florida situation? Because I know every state has kind of different laws.
I think it was Florida. I think it was Florida.
Okay. And when was that?
God, years ago.
It was years ago?
Yeah, that was a years ago thing.
So nothing recent that would be on like your internet browser history?
I just looked it up today.
Right, but I mean other than basically before this incident occurred at your door, but we're not talking like a couple years ago. We're talking about within the last few months. Would there be, because your internet browser, even if you delete it or you go on private browser, if you know, we take a look at those things, because we did go through your phone, the judge signed an order for us to be able to do that. He agreed that there was reasonable enough evidence to be able to do that. So if that were the case, if we were just to look through that, would there show anything that you were looking up, stand your ground or self-defense laws in Florida on the internet?
I don't know, I look up tons of stuff.
Is it a possibility that you looked that up?
Could have been, I don't know.
Okay.
You
Well,
know.
Susan, I think you know the reason why I'm asking that question. You're smart, okay? And the reason is...
Oh, hell no. No, absolutely. I know what you're thinking. Did I look up the laws so I could do something? No, absolutely
This is not a
no.
situation where you set something up to
No.
because you were
No.
tired of this person, you
No.
were tired of the situation that they put you in.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, no.
Okay, so while I was out there going through the notes and everything, I went through, so when someone calls 911, as soon as that call goes to our communication center, it logs it, gives us a timestamp, hour, minute, second, from the very first time that call was received to the time that it's disconnected, okay? And that's for every single time someone calls. So the first time when you called 911 talking about the boys out there trespassing and things of that, so that call started at 8:54 p.m. Does that sound about right?
Yes. I really wasn't looking at the clock
Okay.
or anything. I just remember calling.
That's what time it says on our call center. And that call lasted for 5 minutes and it disconnected. At 8:59, deputies are on the way.
Okay.
Okay. Now you estimated that it was approximately 10 minutes after you disconnected until the AJ started pounding on your door. Is that correct? Is
Yes.
that what? Okay. So the second 911 call where you called, lady was banging on my door, I shot her through the door. That call came into our call center. It was received at 9:01, which is 2 minutes after you hung up with the communication center the first time. So that's 2 minutes that all these things that you say occurred happened at your front door. From pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding, I'm going to kill you, all these things. Within 2 minutes, she showed up.
They concluded that the evidence did not support a self-defense claim. Susan Lorincz was arrested and charged with manslaughter with a firearm, along with assault and battery related to previous incidents involving AJ's children.
So, Susan, we've talked enough that I've come to a conclusion here, everything that I've learned, okay? And I see this on a scale here. Detective Stith had brought up, you are Susan, are you the Susan that has done research on Stand Your Ground and has planned for this to happen, was planning for this to happen? There's a spectrum here. Is this the Susan over here? And then there's also could be a Susan over here that was, I have a gun in the house, I'm scared, someone is knocking on the door, I'd like them to go away, I'm just gonna, I picked up the gun and I accidentally shot the gun. There's a Susan somewhere in the world like that. You've somehow found a spot in the middle where you're trying to explain this, but it doesn't actually make any sense. That within 2 minutes, because we know it's 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, this person came over and they were able to put down a series of statements, such as, and you said this, that they came right up to and they want to have a discussion with the way that you were treating their kids that day. You said that they were able to make that sentence. I want to talk to you about the kids. I'm banging on the door. I want to talk to you about the kids. They're making statements like that. We've interviewed other people that it was a very brief interaction, and then you shot them. Now, this wasn't a long siege. It wasn't a castle siege. It didn't last for 20, 30 minutes. It was 2 minutes. So you're trying to tell us that a reasonable person would shoot somebody for less than 2 minutes of making statements outside. That doesn't make any sense. So that I have to look on the scale here. Did she plan this? Is she a cold-blooded killer that plans things? Was this an accident? Or was this something that got out of hand? Is it somewhere in the middle? That makes more sense. Not what Susan's telling me. Is it somewhere in the middle? Because I know that I talked to Detective Stith. We kind of went through your first interview. And in that first interview, you had even said to the kids, you know what, go get your mom.
No, I didn't.
You said something along the lines as when they said, I'm going to go get my mom, you said, go get her.
Go get her. Which is fine. I want to talk to an adult too. I don't want to talk to a kid.
I remember saying that.
There's been a couple times that you don't remember. And these are important things to remember. And you're not able to remember them. I believe that you do remember them, and that worries me. That makes me feel like you're not telling us it because you are that you are Susan, the person that is planning. I'm just trying to figure out who's sitting in front of me here. Is it over here? I've been planning this. I picked up the gun and I was waiting for her to come over because it was very quick. It was 2 minutes. Or it was, I had the gun in my hand and I made a mistake, but now I've dug my heels in and I've made these statements so far to Detective Stith about a mistake I made, and I feel like I can't go back. I don't want to feel like you're at a point that you can't go back. We are all human. And I'm going to tell you this, 99% of the people that sit in front of me in this room, they do not tell me the truth like the entire time. But then we get to a point where I show them that everything they're saying actually doesn't make any sense. And I always tell them, I say, look, we want to go the path of least resistance. We don't want to go down the path of embarrassment or humiliation or I made a mistake. They don't want to do that, but I show them everything. And they say, you know what? And I don't hold it against them. I don't.
When call comes in. There's no way to justify that. In my mind, I don't think in Detective Pender's mind, and clearly in other people's minds that we've discussed this case with the state attorney, our legal counsel, and things like that. So, I mean, at this point, we've discussed it with the state, and they are on the same terms as far as charging you with a manslaughter. Okay.
Okay. I don't know what to say. I was in fear for my life. I mean, honest to God, I just feared that she was going to come through that door. I'm sorry, that's how I felt. I can't change the way I felt. I mean, it was sheer terror on my part. I mean, honest to God, I was shaking.
As questioning went on, her story started to unravel, and so did she. When officers finally told her she was under arrest, she broke down, saying, "I don't care, kill me." Before she was taken away, she was given a chance to write a note to AJ's children. In it, she said she was sorry for their loss, that she never meant to kill their mother, and that she'd fired out of fear. But to investigators and to AJ's family, that fear had already taken something that could never be replaced. For AJ's family, it was a small measure of relief, but not closure. Her mother, Pamela Diaz, said she wanted the world to remember her daughter, not as a victim of anger, but as a mother who died protecting her children. What began as a neighborhood dispute had now become a criminal case that drew national and international attention. The trial and verdict. When Susan Lorincz finally stood trial, more than a year had passed since the shooting. The courtroom was tense, a mix of grief, disbelief, and anger. AJ's family filled the front rows, wearing shirts printed with her face and the words, "Justice for AJ." The defense argued that Lorincz acted out of fear, not malice. They claimed she believed Owens was trying to break through the door and that she fired instinctively, fearing for her safety. Susan Lorinc's defense team also acknowledged she had been sexually and physically abused as a child. An expert testimony during her sentencing hearing described her as suffering from chronic PTSD linked to that trauma. And while it doesn't excuse or justify her actions, it gives us a glimpse into how unhealed pain and fear can distort reality. And unhealed trauma can linger in ways that sometimes end in tragedy. Prosecutors painted a very different picture, one of anger, resentment, and control. They presented testimony from Owens' children and neighbors, showing a pattern of hostility, yelling threats and slurs. They argued that Lorinc's actions were not the result of panic, but of long-building frustration that finally exploded. But in court, the judge ruled that evidence of Lorinc's alleged use of racial slurs toward AJ's children would not be shown to the jury. The court determined it wasn't directly connected to the night of the shooting, and allowing it could risk making the trial appear biased against the defendant and risking a mistrial. The ruling frustrated many observers, who felt it stripped away crucial context about the tension and hostility that had built up between the two neighbors. But nevertheless, the presented evidence was damning, and even the front door made it into the courtroom. The bullet hole in the door proved Owens had never entered or even tried to. Witnesses confirmed that night she was unarmed when she walked over to Susan's property. And over the course of the trial, jurors saw the photo evidence, heard 911 calls, and watched bodycam footage, capturing the chaotic and heartbreaking aftermath. The prosecution reminded them that self-defense ends where the threat does not exist. And firing through a closed door, they said, is not fear, it's a choice. After deliberating, the jury reached its verdict, guilty of first-degree felony manslaughter. And in November 2024, Lorincz was sentenced to 25 years in prison. The judge called the shooting completely unnecessary, born not of fear, but of anger. Outside the courthouse, AJ's mother, Pamela Diaz, spoke through tears. "We didn't want revenge. We wanted accountability. My daughter's life mattered." For the Owens family, it was a bittersweet moment. Some sort of justice, finally, but at an unbearable cost. The death of Ajike Owens rippled far beyond her neighborhood. What happened on that quiet Ocala street reignited national debate about self-defense, race, and the limits of fear. In the months that followed, activists, faith leaders, and everyday parents came together to demand changes in how local authorities interpret Florida's Stand Your Ground laws, arguing that they too often protect the aggressor rather than the victim. AJ's mother, Pamela Diaz, founded a nonprofit in her daughter's name, aimed at supporting families affected by racially motivated violence and neighborhood disputes turned deadly. News outlets across the country dissected the case, why it took 5 days for an arrest, what role bias might have played, and how laws meant for protection can be used to justify irreversible acts of violence. For many, AJ's story is a cautionary tale about what happens when fear, anger, and prejudice coexist too long without intervention. For a family, it's a wound that will never fully heal, but also a legacy that continues to call for compassion, accountability, and reform. This was the story of how Ajike Owens' life was suddenly cut short. To me, this case is a brutal reminder of how quickly ordinary conflicts can instantaneously escalate and become something far darker once empathy is lost. In the end, what happened in Ocala wasn't just about two neighbors. It's about fear and anger and the invisible lines that divide people and communities until one moment pushes everything past the point of no return. And two themes in this case really stand out to me here, and it's rage and the law. We live in a society that feels more rageful than ever, where so many people seem unable to manage their emotions and get upset over basically nothing. It's like we've collectively regressed to the emotional state of toddlers, easily triggered, quick to lash out, and unable to tolerate the slightest discomfort. It feels like a lot of people have lost the basic tools to handle small, everyday frustrations until something tiny becomes something catastrophic. And rage is one of those things that blinds people. It narrows the world down to a single moment and a single emotion, and everything else disappears. We see it on the road when someone cuts another driver off, and instead of letting it go, they chase, scream, or pull a weapon. The same kind of impulse can take hold anywhere, in parking lots, in stores, or between neighbors who've argued one too many times. It's quick, it's stupid, and it's devastating. Because once that line is crossed, once that split second of anger turns into action, there's no taking it back. What's left is a lifetime of regret for one person and an empty chair at a table for another. And the Stand Your Ground laws show how our legal system can blur the lines between protection and escalation, and how fear can be weaponized when it meets anger. Supporters of Stand Your Ground laws argue that they're not about violence, they're about survival. If someone breaks into your home, corners you in your car, or comes at you with the intent to kill, they believe you shouldn't have to retreat or pause to calculate your escape. And in a moment of real danger, hesitation can be fatal. And for people who are smaller, weaker, older, or physically vulnerable, running or fighting isn't always an option. People say having a weapon levels the playing field. Before these laws existed, some prosecutors charged people who defended themselves because they didn't retreat first, even when they were attacked in their own homes. Stand Your Ground changed that. It clarified that if you're lawfully present somewhere and genuinely fear for your life, you can act to protect yourself. To supporters, that's a human right, the right to survive, and a deterrent for those who might otherwise commit violent crimes. But critics say the law blurs the line between defense and aggression. It shifts everything onto a person's perception, what they feel is threatening, even when that fear might come from bias, anger, or a misunderstanding. And when that happens, split-second fear can turn into deadly force. Stand Your Ground laws are often sold as protection for law-abiding citizens. You shouldn't have to retreat if someone threatens you. In theory, that sounds fair, especially if someone is physically endangered. But in practice, removing the duty to retreat often gives people too much leeway. One of the biggest problems is that these laws can encourage escalation rather than de-escalation. If someone feels under threat, they may decide to respond with lethal force, instead of stepping back or calling for help. That means split-second decisions made under stress carry the weight of life and death. As critics warn, Stand Your Ground can create shoot first, ask questions later mentality. Empirical studies back up those concerns. In many states after adopting Stand Your Ground laws, homicide and firearm death rates rose, and there's little evidence that laws deter violent crimes. Moreover, research suggests that the application of these laws is not always equal. There's a worrying trend that white defendants invoking self-defense are more likely to be believed or legally protected than black defendants in similar circumstances. So, in the best-case scenario, Stand Your Ground protects the innocent. But in the worst, it justifies the irreversible. And I'd really like to hear what you think. Do Stand Your Ground laws protect people, or do they create more tragedy? And what do you make of this case? AJ tragically losing her life over the noise disputes with Susan? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this story moved you or you learned something new, please consider sharing it, because these cases are important and they shouldn't just fade when the headlines do. They live on through the conversations we have and the lessons we take from them. So thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and maybe let me know in the comments what case I should cover next. I'll hope you join me next time as we look into another story that shows how fragile everyday life can be and how quickly it can turn deadly.